Here are your solutions. There's just a few questions we're going to do here. Can you solve these equations? So hopefully you tried it first. I want to isolate the square root. So in front is -2. That's multiplying. So I'm going to divide by -2. The -2's cross out. Square root of 6x plus 3. And when you divide, a negative divided by a negative is positive. To remove the square root, we're going to square both sides. That's 6x plus 3 equals 81. And then I'm going to solve this. So I'm going to subtract 3. So 81 take away 3 is 78. Divide by 6. Does 6 go into 78 evenly? Probably, right? 13 times. So I have an answer that's 13. If I plug in 13, will it work? So I'm just going to do that mentally right now. So to test the answer, 6 times 13, we just did that, 78 plus 3. That's the square root of 81 times -2. It 100% works. Here, for number 2, to get the square root by itself, subtract 18. So we have the square root of m subtract 7 is equal to -6. Remove the square root by squaring. That's positive 36. And then add 7. So when I add 7, that number is 43. Now, will 43 work? So if I plug in 43 for m and see if left side equals right side, this 43 take away 7 is 36. And the square root of 36 is 6 plus 18. This is not working. So if I try to plug it in and put this in a calculator, it does not equal 12. Or if I did the work, the square root of 36 plus 18, that's 6 plus 18. That's not equaling 12. So we cross this answer out and say that answer is extraneous. It's not working. Number 6. Right away I can square both sides. And then I'm going to make it equal to 0 because I have an n squared. So I'm going to add n and subtract 72. I'm going to factor it. So the two numbers are 9 and -8. Now those are not my answers. 9 and -8. The opposite numbers are my answers, which are -9 and +8. And then what happens when I plug in -9? Right away I know it doesn't work because the square root of a number could never equal a negative answer. So this one does not work. If I went 72 take away 8, does that equal 8? Well, 72 take away 8 is 64. And the square root of 64 is 8. So that one works. So one answer that works is 8, and -9 is extraneous. All right, solving equations. All right, two graphs here. So to graph a square root, we're going to start with a, h, and k. So the number I don't see in front is 1. H, I don't see a number under the square root sign. That's actually 0. And then k is the last number, which is -3. So the 3 points I'm going to change are 0, 0, 1, 1, and 4, 2. Now my first point is this going to be h and k. That's 0 and -3. My next point, I'm going to add 0. Well, that doesn't change anything. For my a, multiplying times 1 and then subtracting 3. And then 2 times 1, which is 2, take away 3. And then we're going to put these on a graph. So 0, -3. Did I go too far? This is 0, -3, right up there a little bit. 1, -2, and then 4, -1, and then draw a curved arrow with those points. The domain is h, which is 0 to infinity. The range is k, which is -3 to infinity. When they say that, this is just hk. What's your first point? That's 0, -3. The end behavior, going to the right, it goes up. The left is h and k at 0 and -3. This entire function increases and decreases, but doesn't decrease, but we didn't go over it, so that's good to end right there. All right, one more graph, number 10. So a, when I don't see that number in front, is -1. H opposite number, and then k, which is 2. So a and k change the y value, and h changes the x value. Hopefully you did this already. 0, 0, 1, 1, and 4, 2. And we're going to change these points. So we're going to subtract 4 all the way down. And then we're going to multiply by -1 and add 2. So 0 times -1, add 2. 1 times -1, add 2. And then 2 times -1, add 2. And you can see these are decreasing because a is negative. So we're going to go to -4 and +2. We're going to go to -3 and 1, and then 0, 0. So it's going down to the right. So you have a curved arrow going down to the right. And then our domain is the h, which is -4 to infinity. Our range is our k. Now, because a is negative and it's going down, we actually start with -infinity. So this is going to be round. -infinity up to k, which is 2. Our first point we put on, the -4, 2 is where the graph started. The right end is going down. The left is h and k. And we're not worrying about this. And you did it. You did some graphs, you solved some equations, and I'm thankful you did your homework. Mr. G Math, over now.